I only intended to leave some laundry at his door. But what I stumbled upon inside changed everything. There he was, Daniel, lost in a vulnerable moment that no parent, no step-parent, was ever meant to witness. Would you have turned away? Or stayed and crossed a line you can never uncross? If you believe the deepest stories lie hidden behind everyday moments, be sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Now let's step quietly into that cold Savannah night, where everything began. December in Savannah unfolds a haunting beauty, a juxtaposition of warmth and chill that stirs the soul. The old cobblestone streets shimmer with a haunting mist, the Spanish moss clings more tightly to the gnarled oaks, and a biting wind creeps into every crack and crevice, murmuring secrets meant only for the solitary souls who wander there. Within the confines of our unassuming two-story home on the edge of town, the heater struggled to combat the biting cold, while I meticulously folded laundry, the soft light of the living room lamp casting flickering shadows that danced around me. The hour had grown late, far later than I had ever anticipated. Tom had already retreated to his bed, utterly exhausted from the relentless demands of yet another grueling day at the construction site. The house was shrouded in a suffocating silence, the kind that winter nights alone can conjure. With a precarious stack of clothes teetering in my arms, I cautiously made my way toward the bedrooms, each step heavy with anticipation. Compelled by routine, I found myself leaving laundry outside each door, a silent ritual that echoed through the stillness of the hallways, a monotonous cycle, devoid of thought. Yet, in the depths of that night, a heavy fog of fatigue and wandering thoughts guided my hand toward the door that was not meant to be opened. I flung the door open, my heart racing, anticipating the guest room, anticipating the void within. Instead, I discovered Daniel. He lay on his bed, his body half turned from the door, enveloped in the haunting embrace of soft shadows. His hand crept beneath the fragile blanket, moving with a deliberate, instinctual cadence, while his breath hitched in a series of fragmented sighs. I stood paralyzed. A wave of panic crashed over me. I should have shut that door tight. I should have turned my back and left it all behind. Yet, my feet remained anchored to the floor, my heart racing in my ears, drowning out every other sound in the room. He possessed an intensity that was profoundly raw, an essence that transcended the physical, revealing a deeply human vulnerability that tugged at the heart. In that flickering moment, I witnessed a boy grappling with the weight of his own shame. I witnessed the profound weight of solitude, a deep, aching longing, delicacy. Then his eyes fluttered open, and he locked onto mine. A wave of disbelief washed over his features. His body convulsed, desperately reaching for the blanket, for a shred of dignity, for anything that could protect him from the terrifying reality of exposure. I can't believe this. I'm so sorry, I stammered, my voice a fragile whisper, trembling on the edge of silence. I stepped back, the door closing with a soft yet decisive thud, my hands trembling uncontrollably as the laundry slipped from my grasp, cascading to the floor in a chaotic heap. I stood there, quaking, the relentless thrum of my heart echoing in my ears, the heavy burden of what I had just seen rooting me to that frigid, unstable earth. And deep within, a subtle shift occurred, a fracture imperceptible to the eye, yet just wide enough to invite the chilling embrace of winter. Sleep eluded me that night. Each time I shut my eyes, Daniel's face haunted me. His disbelief, his humiliation, the frantic way he fought to shield himself. The image wrapped around me, suffocating like the damp chill that lingered outside. I writhed in restless turmoil, the creaking springs of the mattress echoing my inner chaos, while Tom lay beside me, enveloped in a deep, oblivious slumber. By morning, the entire experience lingered in the air, hauntingly surreal, as if it had been plucked from the depths of a vivid nightmare. I clung to the hope that perhaps Daniel hadn't truly noticed me, that he might dismiss it as merely a trick of the light, or that, in time, he would simply forget. Perhaps we are both capable of this. As I stepped into the kitchen, the sight of him slumped over a bowl of cereal sent a chill through me. In that instant, I understood everything. His entire body was coiled with tension, shoulders rigid, eyes averted, avoiding the weight of my gaze. The air between us was suffocating, heavy with unspoken words, as if the very walls were straining to contain the weight of our silence. "Good morning," I said, my voice tinged with an unsettling brightness. "Morning," he muttered, his eyes fixed intently on the bowl before him, as if it held the weight of the world. Tom glanced back and forth between us, completely unaware of the storm brewing beneath the surface. "What grand ambitions do you have today, my friend?" Daniel's head trembled in disbelief. "Only class. Perhaps the gym afterward." I observed him from the other side of the table, my heart constricting with every passing moment. In an instant, he appeared so much younger, not the self-assured young man I had seen mature over the past 2 years, but a boy suffocating within his own skin. I should have spoken up. I should have discovered a path to dissolve the tension, to offer my apologies once more, to assure him that everything was all right. Yet the words became a heavy weight, lodged in my throat. Instead, I immersed myself in the dishes, scrubbing a plate with fervor, deliberately ignoring the way Daniel abruptly pushed back his chair and escaped the room the moment he finished eating. By noon, Tom had left for work, and once more, I found myself alone in the house, the silence wrapping around me like a heavy shroud, haunted by the echoes of that fateful night. Isolated, the guilt clawing relentlessly at my core, I attempted to immerse myself in chores, vacuuming, dusting, rearranging books on the shelves, but each faint noise sent my heart racing, igniting a storm of anxiety within me. A door creaked ominously from the shadows above. Footsteps echo ominously down the hall. With each shift of Daniel's presence, an undeniable energy coursed through the house, igniting a heightened sense of awareness that clung to me relentlessly. Throughout the day, I caught fleeting glimpses of him, hovering at the edge of the hallway, lingering by the stairs, but each time, he averted his gaze, vanishing before I could muster the courage to approach him. And through it all, a chilling thought clawed at the edges of my consciousness. Had something irrevocably changed between us? Or was it merely my own perception twisting reality? The following days unfolded in an unsettling, taut cadence. Daniel evaded me with a frantic awkwardness, vanishing into his room the instant my footsteps echoed, feigning deep concentration on his phone whenever our paths intersected. I played my part as well, feigning ignorance. The weight of unspoken words hung heavily in the air, maintained the facade of normalcy, yet everything felt profoundly abnormal. Tom toiled late into the night, consumed by relentless year-end deadlines, as the house grew increasingly silent, weighed down by an oppressive stillness with each passing evening. The biting cold seeped through the cracked window panes, wrapping the room in an unsettling chill. The heater let out a haunting groan from within the walls, echoing a sense of unease. Between Daniel and me, an invisible wire tightened with each passing day, vibrating with an unsettling mix of fragility and peril. I fought to stay occupied, grading papers, adorning a small Christmas tree in the corner of the living room. But my thoughts betrayed me, repeatedly spiraling back to that fateful night, not to what I witnessed, but to the depths of what I experienced. The crushing weight of solitude, the deep, relentless ache, not merely his, so is mine. At times, I would catch fleeting glimpses of him. A figure looms at the top of the stairs, hesitating for a heartbeat before vanishing into the darkness. A brief encounter in the hallway, eyes filled with a tumultuous mix of dread and desire. Silence enveloped us, heavy and suffocating. Neither of us had the courage to shatter the fragile, fated truce that held us in its tense grip. As twilight descended, casting shadows across the yard, I discovered Daniel lingering on the back porch, a solitary figure in the stillness, just moments after Tom had departed for his overnight journey. He perched on the weathered wooden steps, a flimsy sweatshirt offering scant protection against the biting wind, his breath escaping in delicate, ghostly wisps. He remained oblivious to my gaze, fixed intently from the shadows of the kitchen window. Or perhaps he truly did. Perhaps he had simply lost all sense of concern. The sky loomed overhead, a deep, unsettling hue reminiscent of bruises, as the final remnants of daylight bled away into darkness. He appeared so insignificant in that vast expanse, engulfed by the biting cold, consumed by an unseen force lurking beneath the surface. In that agonizing instant, an overwhelming urge to reach out to him surged within me. I longed to envelop him in a warm embrace, to whisper that he was whole, to wipe away the pain etched in his expression. I clutched the counter with a fierce intensity, my knuckles turning pale as I fought against the urge to move, anchoring myself in that moment of turmoil. Outside, Daniel shivered violently, drawing his arms tighter around himself as if to ward off the encroaching chill that seeped into his very bones. And deep within me, a fracture widened, a painful echo reverberating through my soul. I lingered outside Daniel's door, time stretching endlessly in the heavy silence. The laundry basket cradled in my arms served merely as a facade, a lifeline amidst the chaos of my racing thoughts, grappling with the forbidden echoes that haunted my mind. I should have turned back, but the path ahead loomed larger than my doubts. Leaving the basket at his door and walking away would have been the better choice. Instead, I lifted my hand and tapped, gently, as if sharing a hidden truth. In that fleeting instant, silence reigned supreme. Then, a voice emerged, fragile and hesitant. "Yeah," my throat constricted. "It's only me. I can't." I faltered, the words slipping through my fingers like sand, each syllable heavy with unspoken weight. Neither of us dared to move. Not a single breath escaped our lips. Outside, the winter storm raged violently against the house. Within the confines of that space, two shattered beings grasped at one another, precariously balanced on the brink of an irreversible fate. That night, as the shadows danced around the dinner table, Tom's voice cut through the air with a startling declaration. He was going to the gym after work. "I won't be back until late," he murmured, his lips brushing against my cheek in a fleeting moment that felt heavy with unspoken words. "Don't wait for me." I strained to smile, my heart pounding violently in my chest. Once he departed, an oppressive, throbbing silence enveloped the house. I fought to keep my hands occupied, folding laundry with trembling fingers, dusting shelves that seemed to gather more dust with each passing moment, wiping down the kitchen counters as if erasing the weight of the world from their surfaces. Anything to distract myself from the intense, aching pull that had been building between Daniel and me. I made a promise to myself to remain downstairs, battling the urge that clawed at my resolve. I swore to myself that I would keep my distance from him. Yet, as a gentle knock echoed through the kitchen door, my determination shattered into pieces. Daniel lingered in the shadows, a storm of emotions swirling within him, minuscule, adrift, bleeding loneliness from every pore, a haunting ache that grips the soul. "Please," he breathed, his voice trembling with urgency. In an instant, everything I knew unraveled before me. We sat together on the living room couch, the blinking Christmas lights casting a flickering glow, the only witnesses to the unspoken words hanging heavily in the air. Initially, we were worlds away from each other, then inching ever closer, then far too close. Daniel's hand grazed mine, hesitant and quivering with unspoken emotions. I remained steadfast, refusing to retreat. He drew closer, the intensity of his presence enveloping me, igniting a fire within. As he pressed his head against my chest, his arms wrapping around me with an urgency that took my breath away, I found myself holding him instinctively, lost in the moment. I should have put an end to it. I should have pushed him away. My hand instinctively tangled in his hair, stroking and cradling, drawing him ever closer, as if the world around us faded away. His breath seared against my collarbone, igniting a fire within me. As he tilted his face upward, the air crackled with anticipation, our lips tantalizingly close, just inches apart. Just one breath. On the brink of catastrophe, A single heartbeat hangs in the balance. And that was the moment the front door burst open with a deafening crash. Tom, he stood there, drenched by the relentless downpour, the gym bag abandoned at his feet, a silent witness to his turmoil. His gaze pierced through the air, a palpable intensity enveloping us. Daniel's body encased mine, my arms clinging to him as our faces hovered perilously close, breaths mingling in the charged silence. Stunned silence. Fear grips the heart. Fury ignites the soul. In a single, searing moment. What in the world is this? Tom rasped, his voice a chilling whisper that hung heavy in the air. I recoiled, scrambling to my feet, my heart pounding in my throat. Tom, I can't. It's not what it seems. I stumbled over my words, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on me. Daniel curled into the couch, his face ashen and filled with dread. Tom's fists tightened at his sides, his whole body quaking with barely contained rage. Without uttering a single word, he spun on his heel and charged up the stairs, each step echoing with a haunting creak that mirrored the turmoil within him, leaving Daniel and me paralyzed amidst the shattered remnants of all we once cherished. Silence enveloped us that night. Tom remained upstairs, the weight of the moment heavy in the air. Daniel remained locked away in his room, the silence thickening around him. Alone on the couch, I fixated on the blinking Christmas lights, each flicker piercing through the silence like a harsh judgment, amplifying the weight of my solitude. The following morning, Tom silently filled a bag, the weight of unspoken thoughts hanging heavily in the air. I need space, he declared, his voice cold and distant, avoiding my gaze as if the weight of his words hung heavily in the air. I will remain by my brother's side for a time. I parted my lips, desperate to plead, to unravel the chaos, to utter a single word that might mend the devastation. Yet, silence hung heavy in the air, a void where words once thrived. By noon, Daniel had vanished, leaving an unsettling silence in his wake. Silence reigns. There was no farewell. Only an empty room remains, suffocated by the oppressive weight of regret that hangs thickly in the air. The house loomed large, an echoing void, steeped in silence, aching in their absence. Each creak of the floorboards, each rattle of the ancient windows, reverberated with the weight of irrevocable choices haunting my every step. I had obliterated it all. It wasn't due to a lack of love for Tom. It wasn't our intention to cross that line, Daniel and I. In a fleeting moment of vulnerability, a single instance of profound loneliness, I lost sight of my true self, and I lost sight of the person they expected me to become. Love transcends mere passion. Love is a delicate balance of holding back. Love is unwavering devotion. Love is the agonizing choice to do what is right, even as your heart shatters into pieces. And sometimes, the price of erasing that memory is far greater than you could ever hope to repay. If this story stirred something deep within you, a memory, a fear, a concealed sorrow, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share your reflections in the comments. Each voice carries weight. In moments of vulnerability, revealing your own journey can ignite a spark of hope in another's wounded soul. Your presence on this journey has been invaluable. Thank you for being here with us. Hold on tight. Remain steadfast until we meet again.